You can click the link on the agenda to join the meeting. I would like to apologize first for starting late. We had some computer issues, so we appreciate your patience. The following matters will come before the Revere License Commission today at our regularly scheduled meeting. The first items that we will deal with will be applications submitted for consideration. We expect Commissioner Guanasso to join us shortly. However, we do have a quorum now, so we will begin considering these items. The first item number 1, 99 West LLC, DBA 99 Restaurant and Pub, 121 VFW Parkway. William Butts is the manager. This is an application for a change of offices. The application of 99 West LLC, DBA 99 Restaurant and Pub, for a change of corporate offices. Is there someone here on behalf of 99 West LLC?
Hi, yes, Elizabeth Pisano here, counsel for the 99.
Thank you very much, Counselor. Can you just briefly go through what your plan is for this change of officers?
Yes, absolutely. So there's just one change. Wendy Harkness is replacing Goodlow Part T as the LLC manager, and there are no other changes.
Will this affect the operation at all?
No.
Thank you very much. Do my fellow commissioner have any questions? You're muted, Daniel.
No, I've had an opportunity to review the application and the change, and I have no objection or questions.
Thank you very much. I will close this section of the hearing and I will open it up to any proponents. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on behalf of this change of officers? And I would advise, please, participants to hit the raise hands button at the bottom of the screen if you do want to participate. I don't see or hear anyone. I will move to opponents. Is there anybody opposed to the change of officers? Again, I don't see or hear any. We'll close that section and we'll open it up to a general discussion or motion. Daniel, is there anything that you want to discuss about this, or would you like to make a motion?
I'd move to approve the application.
Very good. I will second that. The application for a change of officer for 99 West LLC, DBA 99 Restaurant and Pub. William Butts, manager, is approved. And that's that. So your
Thank you.
change of officers is approved, Counselor.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. You as well.
Bye-bye.
We'll close that item. Item number 2, Colwyn Management, Inc. DBA Staybridge Suites, Holiday Inn Express, Revere, 245 Revere Beach Parkway. Catherine Marie Cucciello is the manager. This is an application for a change of manager. The application of Colwyn Management, Inc., DBA Staybridge Suites, Holiday Inn Express, Revere, for a change of manager of an all-alcohol in-holders license from Jonathan Moore to Catherine Marie Cucciello. Is there someone here on behalf of Staybridge Suite? I don't see or hear anyone. We will table this item and come back to it.
If you hold on just one moment, there might be one. I will check.
Thank you.
No, I don't see anyone here.
Very good. We'll move on, and if they do come in, we will go back to it. Item number 3, Azam Inc., DBA The Cutting Board, 744 Broadway. Miriam Amini is the manager. This is an application for a transfer of a malt wine cordials liquor restaurant license. The application of Azam Inc., DBA The Cutting Board, for a transfer of a malt wine cordial liquors restaurant license from Rubino's Restaurant LLC. Said license to be exercised at 744 Broadway. The requested seating is 22. The requested hours are Sunday through Saturday, 8 a.m. until 11 p.m. Is there someone here on behalf of Azam Inc.?
Hi, yes, this is Maria Mamini.
Okay, very good. And you are looking to get this license transferred into your name?
Yes,
Now, can you tell us what your plans are for the for this license?
yes, we are opening Middle Eastern food place, and we're gonna serve just beer and wine.
Oh, very good. Commissioner Osina, do you have any questions? You're muted, sir.
I have the kids here. I just don't make too much noise. I just have one question. Is the hours of operation essentially the same as the original license? Is there any changes in the seating or the hours of operation from the first license?
Yes, the seating is staying the same. The hours of operation is gonna change because it was only afternoons. It used to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday closed, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday afternoon, and Monday and Sunday for brunch. We are expanding the hours, but still we're gonna work to see what exactly our hours is going to be.
Do you plan to have any sort of entertainment, or is it just sit down restaurant?
It's going to be sit down, and it might be just music or radio.
Nothing like a DJ or anything like that?
No.
Okay. That's all the questions I have, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you very much. I have a couple. I was looking at the application and I said, do you have any prior dealing with restaurant?
I'm sorry, do you mind repeating? You broke up.
Sure. Do you have any experience dealing with a restaurant that serves alcohol?
Personally, I do not, but I have somebody that has experience.
Well, the license is going to be in your name, correct?
Correct.
And have you received any certification, any tips training, anything regarding that?
I don't understand your question exactly.
The question is, have you received any training in the service of alcohol in a restaurant setting?
I used to work in a restaurant and just to be trained and work. And we have a takeout place right now in Watertown that we have been having it since 2018. And yes, sir, I have had some trainings.
And do you serve alcohol in that restaurant in Watertown?
No, I do not. But I worked in a different restaurant that they served alcohol.
And where was that?
One was in Watertown and the other one was in Sudbury.
Okay, we'll close this section. I don't have any other questions.
Excuse me, Chairman. I have
Yeah.
a raised hand from the attorney.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Chairman. Thomas Jafarian, counsel for Azam. I was cut off earlier, and I guess my voice wasn't heard. But it seems like you're concluding this. But I'm here if you have any further questions.
Well, I mean, the questions were regarding tip certification or any type of training that the proposed license holder would have.
Sure. Well, I'm very familiar with TIPS training. I'm sure my client would have no difficulty in taking the weekend long course if that's something that's necessary. In fact, it would be something that I would suggest to her, and in all likelihood, I'm sure she will do that.
Very good. Commissioner Guanasso, are you in a position to talk about this license for a moment?
I have the same concerns as you do, Commissioner, as far as being tip certified. But other than that, I have no other questions.
Okay, thank you very much. We will close this section of the hearing and I will open it up to any proponents. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on behalf of this license? I don't see or hear anyone. I will close that section of the hearing. Are there any opponents? Is there anybody opposed to the application for transfer of this license? I don't see or hear any. I will close that section and open it up to a general discussion and motions. I have concerns about the experience factor of the license holder. And I think that, you know, one of the conditions that I would like to see on this is that the license holder gets some training in tips area. I don't know how my other.
Can I add something?
Certainly.
Sure. So does the training by the previous owner count as one? Because he's supposed to work with us for anything.
Well, who is the manager? I think are you the manager at this time?
Not at
Right
this,
now?
She's not the manager at this juncture. She will become the manager. But Mr. Rubino, who currently owns the building and is the current manager, will be staying on board for at least the initial few weeks the restaurant opens under new management. It would be my suggestion, perhaps, that this be approved with the contingency that the new manager, Miriam, would be tip certified. This is something that can easily be accomplished, as I mentioned earlier, over the weekend, and I would certainly encourage her to do that. I know that's something that she would not be opposed to doing, and I certainly echo your sentiments and your concerns. However, being able to be tip certified is a process that can be done fairly quickly, and I would hate to have this being held up for another month or 2 months for this hurdle, which I think can easily be accomplished.
Thank you, Counselor. I would agree with your assessment of that. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any comments or suggestions that they want to make?
Yeah, I would certainly suggest if the commission is inclined to approve this transfer, that we simply ask that she provide Maggie with the certification so we can put it in our records. You know, at a later date. We don't want to hold it up either. Everything else seems to be in order. She also mentioned on the record that she has someone who is tip certified and experienced that's going to be in the restaurant with her. So I can vote confidently in the affirmative to approve it, but with the stipulation that once she gets that certification, she send it into us into City Hall.
I think that would be a very fair stipulation on the board's part.
Okay, so we're saying that, just because I've come in late, we're saying that the manager that's working there now will stay there until you become manager and certified. Is that what you're saying?
That's not the
No,
impression.
he will be on board during the initial phase during the opening, but between now and the opening, and this still has to go to the ABC. I believe my client can clearly accomplish her certification as tip certified in that interim period, carrying even forth over to the transition of when the restaurant opens. When the restaurant does open, the current manager will be in place for at least a 3-week period of time. So given the 3-week period of time that he will be still on board when Miriam opens, as well as the time that's going to take place between now and the ABC approving, I think Miriam will have no difficulty in becoming tip certified and then in submitting her certification to the board.
Okay. Okay, thank,
I will make a motion to approve this based on our discussion with the contingency that the new manager is certified before the actual approval. So it would be contingent on the approval. I don't know how my other commissioners feel about that. I think that would be a reasonable accommodation.
I think that's a very reasonable accommodation, and I thank you for that.
Same as, I agree with you as well, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you very much. So that application is approved with the stipulation that the manager is to be tip certified. The application for transfer of a malt, wine, cordials, liquors, restaurant license of Azam Inc., DBA Planning Board, to Miriam Amini, President Manager, is approved with the contingent that she become tip certified before the license enacted. The requested seating of 22 is approved, and the requested hours of Sunday through Saturday, 8 a.m. until 11 p.m. Is approved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner.
Item number 4, Cinco de Mayo 2, DBA Pancho Villa Mexican Grill, 120 Centennial Avenue. Madeline Rodriguez is the manager. This is an application for a change of manager. The application of Cinco de Mayo 2, DBA Pancho Villa Mexican Grill, for a change of manager of an all-alcohol restaurant license from Jose Chino to Madeline Rodriguez. Is there someone here on behalf of Pancho Villa Mexican Grill?
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about what your plans are here and what your background is to be the manager?
So I have always worked with my father since he passed away, taking over the licensing. I've always come into the board myself to present myself with you guys, with the board. And it's just me taking over now with me putting my name in there.
Okay, are you going to make any changes to the license or to the facility?
No changes for now.
Very good. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
I have no questions.
I have none.
Very good. We'll close this section of the hearing. We will open it up to proponents. Is there anybody that would like to speak on behalf of the change of manager? I don't see or hear anyone. We'll close that section. Are there any opponents? Is there anybody opposed to the transfer of the application for a change of manager? Again, I don't see or hear anybody. We will close that section. And open it up to a general discussion. Is there anybody want to make a motion or have a discussion about this transfer?
I have no comments.
Very good. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve it?
Linda,
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'd second that motion.
Very good. We'll make it unanimous. The application for a change of manager of Cinco de Mayo to Pancho Villa Mexican Grill is approved. The change will be from Jose Chino to Madeline Rodriguez. And that's for a change of an all alcohol restaurant license. Thank you very much, Ms. Rodriguez, and good luck.
Thank you so much.
Item number 5, Primo's Partners LLC, DBA Fajitas Sports Bar and Restaurant, 46 Deer Street.
Commissioner,
Yes,
okay, I've got it. Thank you. I didn't think it was on my agenda. I apologize.
that's okay. This is an application for a change of license category. The application of Primo Partners LLC, DBA Fajitas Bar and Restaurant for a change of license category from a wine, malt, cordials, liquor restaurant license to an all alcohol restaurant license. And this is continued from our September meeting. Is there someone here on behalf of Fajitas Sports Bar and Restaurant?
I am counsel for Fajitas, Cosmo Carololas.
Thank you very much, Counselor. Can you tell us what your client's plans are for this license?
Yes, so Fajitas desires to make a full alcohol license. So they can basically appeal to a much broader clientele. There is demand and they would enjoy the extra revenue.
Okay. Do they plan to make any changes to the hours or the operation as far as from a operational standpoint?
The hours currently are 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. on their license. They would like to extend that to 1 a.m. if it would be possible on this hearing.
Was that on the application?
I don't believe we identified any, just,
I don't see that applied for.
no, just the upgrade to the license.
Right.
Very good. That's what we'll deal with today, Counselor.
All right.
All right. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions of Fajitas or the council?
I do. So in anticipation of this hearing, as well as submitting this application, has your clients taken any steps to, or what steps have your clients taken to ensure that this upgrade in their license doesn't affect, their surrounding area or their neighbors or anything of that nature?
So I don't know if you recall, but we were here last February and we were tasked with putting together a remediation plan. And I do have that plan if I could share the screen. Let's see. Ooh. I think Maggie needs to enable.
You should be able to do this as you are now a panelist.
Okay. It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
All right, give me a moment and I'll check.
Okay.
You can just speak on the record about it while Maggie looks into that.
Right. So we did get, or Fajitas did go around the neighborhood and got 8, they filled all the signature lines. So they got 8 signatures. They could have got more. And the signatures go from, 46, 45, that's 41, 55. So it does all up and down the street. And we think that's a pretty broad sample size of how people feel in the area about Fajitas.
Excuse me, you should be able to share now.
Okay, thanks. Can everybody see this?
Match courts, that's what we see.
That's the Massachusetts Trial Court Electronic
Oh.
Case Access.
Why did it do that screen? Hold on. Now can you see it?
Right.
Okay. Just making sure we got the right screen. So this is the plan that we put together. These are all the signatures, the addresses. Fajitas in the 8 months, so the hearing was on February 17th. We were supposed to have a continuance follow-up 3 months later, but there weren't any issues. So we just kept along, and it's been 8 months since, and there have not been any issues. So if that's not a testament to, I guess, Fahida's track record now, 5 years and 3 months strong.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I will note that, and again, Sean is welcome to chime in from the Revere Police Department, but as far as I understand, there hasn't been any complaints about fajitas. I've occasionally randomly popped into that restaurant following that February meeting, and I can certainly attest to how the powers that be over there certainly run their business. It seems to me like this is an application that I certainly would vote for in the affirmative. I'm not sure how my other fellow commissioners feel about it.
Well, I have a couple of questions I would like to ask before we proceed with the motion. Okay. Is the attorney still there? I don't see him.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. I live in the area, sir, so I'm very familiar with the establishment. First of all, I see here you have 8 signatures. 4 of them are from the same address. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 from 41 Revere Street. Okay. The other, you have 2 more from the same address. So those are just local people that abut you directly. I'm hearing from people who do not live on Revere Street, such as Folsom Street, Oxford Park, and in that area. And there has been at night some disturbances outside the building. We also have another resident who lives across the street who she's has complained to me about problems there, but so far, I think even my colleagues can say they've gone there, tried to check it out, and we could not confirm that there was a problem on that particular date. I think the problem with the neighborhood right now, as far as I'm concerned and they're concerned, is we have in the last month, we've issued, I think, 5 liquor licenses and a package store on a block. Okay. Today we have 2, the Cutting Board, we're transferring a malt and beer. We just did one at Broadway, the corner of Folsom. Package store, Revere Street, Broadway. For heaters, now you have beer and wine to upgrade. From the complaints I'm getting, they just think it's a little too much alcohol. Abutting a school, mind you, we're a block from the school. So although I haven't gotten any complaints in writing, nobody seems to want to come up or make complaints. They say he runs a very nice business, but as they're leaving, as in any establishment, there seems to be problems. Loud music with the cars sitting in the parking lot. So being in that area, I see it very differently. And I just wonder, do we need more alcohol on this block? So those are my concerns. I understand he thinks it will enhance his business. I don't know about that. But you're saying you haven't heard any complaints in that area from the neighbors other than these 8, that 4 which live in the same building, whom I know. 2 in another house, but none do I see in the residential area. Have you gone to the residential area?
41 is like 17 apartments. 41, 17.
I'm not sure. Are you addressing me? I'm sorry.
I'm just wondering what area you went other than those houses right on Revere Street. Did you go to and have them sign? asked them if they were going to sign the petition. Because
Oh.
they saying to me, no one has come before them or asked their opinion on a full liquor license.
From my understanding, it was all of Revere Street and only Revere Street. I walked up and down Revere Street, you know, from the new Geo's down to Blanchard's, both sides. When you say block, I don't think we even thought to go, you know, further out down side streets and whatnot to get the whole community. But I'm sure, you know, that we could do that. If that's something that would, you know, make this work.
Well, it seems to be they're the ones with the concerns. I know these addresses, they're right across the street. They're not further down by Blanchard's, they're right there. So that's okay. But like I say, again, the side streets, unfortunately, people call, they don't come to the meetings, which would be a big help for me because I can only go by hearsay unless you approach them yourself.
So
And-
the one comment I just want to make about the parking is I've been back there to Fajitas, and it does have the apartments upstairs, and they do have, you know, a decent amount of parking, not really a decent amount of parking, but enough in the back. I just don't understand how people that don't actually live on the street or nearby could say that people were loitering in the parking lot that isn't even really enough space for the 3 or 4 cars that squeeze in there. But like I said, we never reached out to those people and would be more than happy to.
Well, I think that when you say the parking lot, if you're standing in the parking lot and you look to the right, those are homes right there. So to say that they don't hear it, they do. I know the area very well. And, I'm just wondering, no one's called him and complained? He's received no phone calls, no?
No.
No.
I mean, I think Sean.
Just yeah.
If Revere, if the Revere PD or you can't speak on state police, if they've gotten any complaints, as far as I understand, this restaurant has not gotten a single complaint. I mean, I think there's probably one resident that. Sean, have you gotten anything on this restaurant?
No, whenever I run the logs, we don't have a record of complaints about noise or anything else. If there are any complaints, they're not calling the police department.
I can say on the record, the 3 times where I've randomly popped in, not as a patron, but just to follow up since that February meeting, the music was extremely low. I didn't observe any loitering in the parking lot. I can note that the parking lot is quite small. I think the capacity of this restaurant is probably no more than 25 folks inside, including staff. And Maggie can confirm that one way or the other. So I support this. It's hard for, I think, these folks to survive as it is. I do think that having a full liquor license can add additional revenue to their books. And based on the fact that, there isn't any complaints really coming from this place other than probably one consistent resident, I would like to see it flourish. I think it's kind of hard to survive in this climate as it is. And, so that's the reason why I would vote to approve it.
And just to elaborate on what Mr. Oshana said, is that is the reason people come in and, they want to get a cocktail with their fajita. You can't serve cocktails. There is a demand, and especially with, Corona and everything else going on, business is really tight. And so to be able to serve those patrons that are in there anyway, it's almost like a no-brainer for the business.
Very good, Counselor. We will close this section of the hearing. Are there any proponents? Is there anybody else that would like to speak on behalf of?
I do have a resident who wishes to speak.
Very good. Is this a proponent?
I don't know which she is.
Okay.
She has raised her hand and asked to speak.
Very good.
Counselor, can you unshare your screen for us?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I just want to be able to see the full panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we will hear from the person who wants to speak.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Fatma and I live in off Carton Street. Fahita's restaurant's his backyard or parking lot, we share just a fence between his parking lot and my backyard of my house. And speaking about, actually Linda mentioned what I should mention before, but about we have 2 liquor store in my block, one in the next to the funeral home, another one next to my house. And Fahita is gonna be the 3rd one. That's a residential area.
In fairness, 2 retail liquor stores, Fajitas would be a restaurant.
But
which-
he's gonna upgrade, right? He's gonna upgrade license to serve liquors
Yes, with their food, correct.
with the food, right? So
Yes.
I have so much concern about my privacy, my disturbance of my peace in my backyard. With his restaurant, you know, the 4 o'clock in the morning, the trash truck comes to collect his trash. So that is right now as we speak. Imagine if he's gonna add of that, he's gonna extend the hours, he's gonna receive people maybe he got drunk or some unwanted activity in there. So how about my situations?
Well, I mean, right now, we are not contemplating any increase in hours. So what you would have now is exactly the same hours that he has now, with the exception that he would be able to add a couple alcohol products that he can't sell currently. So, I mean, as far as the business is concerned, the only difference would be that someone would be able to buy a margarita as opposed to having a beer.
Well, I think her question is valid, and I think that can be corrected as far as rubbish pickup at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's unacceptable. I think we have a law, if I'm not mistaken, we can look it up, that the rubbish cannot be picked up before 6 in the morning. 4 o'clock is unacceptable in any area. So, I mean, something that we could help her with. But again, I understand with all the liquor establishments around there, I think there's a lot, but this one already has alcohol. So we're not putting alcohol in a business that hasn't had it. It's adding to what they already have. But your problems with the dumpster or late noises, or maybe the attorney can sit down and speak with you with that and the owners. But certainly 4 o'clock in the morning is unacceptable for rubbish pickup.
So this is the first time I've heard of this, and this is definitely something that we can definitely work to a conclusion and fix for Ms. Shoa. It's just the first time we've heard it now.
And that is once a month, so not every day.
See, ma'am, this is a prime example. If you have issues like this, you need to let 311 know so that we have something that we can, some action we can take. If we don't know what's going on, then we can't really take any action to help you. So
I never know that he's not allowed to do so. I thought maybe because he is a restaurant, so he has the right, the trash can come and be collected in this time on daily basis. That's my information about the business, about the restaurant's business. But I never know that he's not allowed to pick up the trash before 6 o'clock. But one more reason, if he's gonna upgrade his license, how about that if he will make a higher fence between me and him, so I will avoid all this noisy stuff. I am assuming it's gonna come to happen if he's gonna serve wine in his restaurant.
I mean, we're more than willing to see how it goes and then talk and sit down. I don't think a higher fence is going to do much about the noise pollution, but we are more than willing to work. You know,
we can change the tag. I mean, we don't meet the tag; they meet their own tag, but we can told them.
and on the truck issue as well. Those are small things that we could solve immediately.
Sorry, I did not hear you. The sound was broke up. What did you say?
The trash pickup and the fence issue. If you you know, contact us, we could all sit down and we could figure those out. Those aren't really big issues for fajitas in the business, but this is the first time we're hearing from you that they are issues, and if they are issues to you, then we want to take care of them.
Okay, so that's okay. So I have your number here in the letter, and so I'm gonna give you a call.
Absolutely.
We'll fix it.
Absolutely.
Very good. That sounds like a reasonable solution to all. Okay. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any other items that you want to talk about with this?
No, I just think that her coming up here, as I was trying to say to the attorney, more neighborhood involvement in a meeting before coming here. I mean, they'd be more likely to speak with you and resolve problems before they come to us. But as far as the ones that she said, I don't know about the fence. That, you know, would be between her and the owner. But as far as the rubbish, we can clear that up, which makes our job a lot easier. So I'm glad she brought that to light. And hopefully you can have a sit down with a few of the neighbors that do abut the property and clear those issues up. And I would appreciate it.
And please, if other people do from around the community come to you, feel free to give them, you know, our number and have them contact us. We'd love to speak with them. I mean, Fajitas is trying to work with the community, and the only time that these things come up is nobody's ever even contacted us to begin with. So we'd love to have an open line of communication at all times to make sure that everybody is satisfied.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Counselor. Well, I suppose that would conclude our discussion on this. Would anybody like to make a motion on this?
Did we ask for any opponents at this time?
I
We had
believe Ms. Shoeb was the opponent. Let me ask again, are there anybody else that would like to speak either for or against this license?
No.
I do not see or hear anyone. I guess we will make a motion. Is there anybody that would like to make a motion?
Sure, I would move to approve the application for a change of license category, the application of Primo's Partners, change of application to an all alcohol restaurant from a wine, malt, liquors restaurant application license.
Very good. I would second that motion. And the application for a change of license category is approved. The application of Primo's Partners LLC, DBA Fajitas Sports Bar and Restaurant, 40 Wall Street, Nicholas Portillo, manager, for a change of license category from a wine, malt, and cordials liquors restaurant license to an all alcohol restaurant license. That motion is approved. Thank you,
Thank you,
Councilor.
Commissioner.
Item number 6, the Revere Beach Partnership. Revere Beach, Chris Puya is the event manager. This is an application for a one-day malt wine license. The application of Revere Beach Partnership for a one-day license said to be exercised on Revere Beach across from Kelly's Roast Beef on Sunday, October 24th, 2021, from 10:30 a.m. until 12 p.m. The event is a 5K road race with a beer garden after the race. The expected number of attendees is 200. Is there someone here from the Revere Beach Partnership?
Yes, sir. My name is Chris Puya. I'm the event manager for the event.
Thank you very much, sir. Can you tell us what your plans are for this license and how you'll be handling the alcohol service?
Of course, on Sunday, the Revere Beach Partnership is hosting a 5K road race, which begins at 10 a.m. On Revere Beach Boulevard across from Kelly's Roast Beef. After the event, we do have a post-race festival where we do invite all of our runners who are 21 and over to join us in a post-race beer garden, which we set up on the beach, and we do have a permit from DCR to do so. Each runner is allowed one beer who's over the age of 21, and we have a state police detail who assists us with the beer garden.
Very good. Will the alcohol service be confined to the tent area, or will people be allowed to walk around with the, how do you plan on controlling that?
DCR sets up a fence for us, and it must be contained within that fence.
Thank you very much. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
I have no questions. This is an event we've had the last couple of years. Great time, wonderful time on the beach. Hopefully we get great weather. I guess we are going to.
Looking like it.
But yes, but no, I have no questions. It's a very nice event.
No questions.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Let me close this section, and I will open it up to any proponents. Is there anybody that would like to speak on behalf of the Revere Beach Partnership's one-day license? I do not see or hear anybody. I will close that section. Is there anybody opposed? Is there anybody opposed to the issuance of this license? Again, I don't see or hear anyone. We'll close that section and open it up to a discussion and or motions. Would anybody like to discuss this or make a motion to approve or disapprove?
If there's no discussion, I'll make a motion to approve.
I second that motion.
Very good. The application for the Revere Beach Partnership one-day malt wine license to be exercised on Revere Beach across from Kelly's Roast Beef on Sunday, October 24th, 2001, from 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. is approved. The event is a 5K road race with a beer garden after the race. The expected number of attendees is 200, and that license is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with the
Thank you.
event. The next item is a hearing. This is item number 7. White Label LLC, DBA Easy Pie, 649 Squire Road. Spiros Stogianis is the manager. This is a hearing into an unlicensed entertainment event and fire safety violations. Is there someone here on behalf of Easy Pie?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Attorney Andrew Delory. My office is located at 365 Broadway in Everett. I am here in my conference room with Mr. Stogianis, who is the manager of White Label LLC, and he will be available for any questions during this hearing should the board require that. But I am here on behalf of the licensee to discuss this matter with you today.
Thank you very much, Counselor. Do any of my fellow commissioners want to get into this right now? As far as, do you have any questions for the attorney?
Well, I do. Can you just give us an overview of how this event came to be, but specifically why there wasn't a specific either application or permit requested from your clients to the commission to host this event?
Absolutely. I think that that's an important clarification for everybody here today, especially for moving forward. This event came to be This is it was a so-called car meetup, not necessarily a show, just, similar as we drive to this restaurant and we meet up on this date. Mr. Sojanis did not, he's not a member of the car club. They simply reached out to him and asked him if he would be willing to potentially host it, which he did agree to. He has had the same exact car club host the same exact event on a couple other of occasions. And additionally, especially during COVID, Easy Pie was very active in trying to bring the community in and have events and have movie nights in the parking lot. And like I said, my client is here to discuss if we need him to, but effectively, there is a question in this type of event when this license is necessary and when it is not. My client was under the impression, given his prior experience, that he did not need a license to host this type of event. And if it is the position of this board that he in fact did need a license, what I would like to do today is leave here with a unanimous agreement of, if he were to have this type of event again, what is the line which requires him to have a license, just so that we can try to avoid the situation moving forward.
Well, I mean, we certainly, I'm not sure what I think your office can certainly consult with Maggie outside of this hearing about that. But I think, given the fact that we received confirmation via pictures and as well as other posts from various patrons who attended it, I think you guys had some type of light show and there was music and there was other things set up that would suggest that it was an entertainment in nature, where a license or a permit should have been pulled or an application should have been submitted to this commission. I have one question for you before I turn it over to my other commissioners. Was there any alcohol being served at this event?
Alcohol was
I can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Am I back with you now? Am I back with you?
Yeah, you
Yes.
are.
I'm sorry. My internet connection is a little unstable in the office, I think, at the moment. The question was there any alcohol service during the event? Alcohol was available within the restaurant, within the licensed premises, and there was no alcohol which was sold to any patron of the event and consumed outside of the four walls of the restaurant.
Are you satisfied with that answer, Commissioner Osina? Counselor, in addition to the licensing aspect, there was also complaints from the fire department regarding a malfunctioning alarm, and that apparently Mr. Stogianis reset the fire alarm before the Revere Fire Department can check out the situation, which they ask him not to do. And apparently he has given them, some kind of attitude about that. And it should be noted that, resetting the alarm panel is against the law in Massachusetts. And so he's taken no steps to repair that malfunctioning alarm. So it continues to be a problem. And also the locking of the emergency exits patio, another violation of Massachusetts law. So those are also issues that we'd like to address today.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would like to just, state for purposes of the record clearly that these events are not related necessarily. So these did not stem from the same date. So the event, the question of the event was one night. This was a separate night. My client, had a restaurant doesn't deny anything that the fire department has said at this point. He had a restaurant full of customers. What he did is he entered the panel and he silenced the panel. He did not, disconnect it. He did not do anything. He immediately had a discussion with the fire department at that time. They made it very clear to him that he was not authorized to enter the fire panel. He has not done so again since. Case in point being that he had a very similar alarm triggered in the restaurant yesterday, and he on Sunday, I apologize, and he absolutely complied with the rules, waited for the fire department to arrive. They deactivated the alarm. My client just did, like I said, he doesn't deny. He entered the panel strictly for purposes of silencing the alarm to attempt to not disrupt the customers who were enjoying their meals. He has been made well aware that he is not authorized to do that again. He is in agreement, and he has not done so again since he discussed it with the fire department on that night. As to the locked door, that's also a separate incident. And what I can say on that is that there was an inspection made of my client of the premises, of the licensed premises, before he was open for business. The door in question is I don't know if you've ever frequented the restaurant, but there is a front entrance, which is out facing the parking lot. There is a rear steel entrance, which faces out into where his rear patio area is, a rear egress. There's also an egress in the kitchen area. The door in question was the rear egress to the patio. It is padlocked every single night for security purposes. The padlock is removed every single day when the restaurant opens for business. I believe the padlock incident was simply just a question of timing. Like I said, he was not open at the time that that was observed. And my client is fully aware that at all times that he's operational, that padlock needs to be off the door and that fire exit needs to be accessible. So I hope that one is pretty easy to resolve for here with the commission.
Thank you very much, Counselor. I appreciate you addressing those.
I have a couple of questions I'd like to ask.
Yes.
What are the hours of this event, sir?
6 to 10 p.m., ma'am.
6 to 10 p.m. And when it broke out, how many cars do you think were there at the time?
150 vehicles, maybe.
150. Now, that took up Harley Davidson's parking lot also then?
Well, my client is a tenant of Harley Davidson as part of that property, and the business was closed at the time.
Okay. So when these vehicles exited at 10 o'clock, you're saying 10 o'clock, I heard a little bit later, but at 10 o'clock, who was out there controlling them? Because when they left there was a lot of screeching going on from the cars, a lot of noise for the residents going through the streets. So who was in control of this when they all broke at one time, 150,
Sure.
200 cars?
Sure. I do want to note that my client did hire a Revere officer to handle a detail the night of the event. He actually requested 2, but he was only provided with 1. The detail officer was on site. He was the first person there. He was the last person there. So there was a Revere police officer on site at all times when the patrons arrived and the patrons left the premises. And as I said, my client asked for 2. There was just only 1 available that night. I'm sure an additional detail officer always would have been beneficial with a crowd of that size. But there was a Revere police officer on site who was there to handle traffic control measures as this event dispersed.
Okay. I just feel like any event that handles 200 cars, so maybe 400 people, I would think common sense, we would need some kind of approval from the city.
And I think, again, my client is here in an effort to host these type of events again and have them in a manner that's compliant with the license and with this commission, so to avoid this type of situation again. And I think that the difficult situation that he gets put in is that he cannot predict the number of people who attended the event, and it was attended much more than he was originally disclosed, the number of patrons that would be there. He was under the impression that it would be, maybe 50 vehicles, and it was a much larger presence there than he had been instructed originally on short-term notice. So again, if we need to work with the commission to determine where the line is for a required license and where it isn't, I respect the position of the commission that given the size of the event, it's something that has at least triggered the discussion, and we hope to resolve that question moving forward, and again avoid this type of scenario if he is to have another event of that scale.
Well, I think when you hire entertainment, music outdoors, that right there tells you need permission.
Ma'am, if I politely can, there was no live music. There was no act. There was, this is just people arriving in their vehicles, picking up some food from the restaurant, eating in their car, checking out each other's vehicles. If you look at the pure definition of the licensed activity for an entertainment license, it's definitely in a gray area about, what was applicable here and what wasn't. Again, we're here in an effort to just avoid any sort of question moving forward. So we will certainly work with the commission to, if there's a definition that we have misinterpreted, we will certainly work with the commission to make sure that if this event takes place again, we will apply and seek all necessary licenses that the commission feels necessary at that point.
So you're saying the loud music that came from this car show was the cars?
It could have been the vehicles and stuff like it. There was no DJ. There was no, setup of loudspeakers. There was, it's just the vehicles and the patrons themselves. If there was music, it would have been coming from a patron in their vehicle itself. There was no other form of entertainment that was hired or brought onto the site to be at the event.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Counselor. I see that Counselor Keefe has his hand up. Would you like to speak on behalf of or against, put in
Sure.
Opinion on this hearing?
Sure. Sure. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and to the commission. I certainly understand the situation that you're in, and fully respect the commission's rule, as well as the License Commission with Maggie. She's very, very well versed and very responsive to the needs of the community. But I also understand the operator in the sense that coming from a background of the restaurant business and the year and a half that the restaurant business has endured, people in these circumstances are trying to find ways to keep their businesses afloat, keep their employees going, and trying to do as much as they can to keep people coming and going through the doors. So someone like Spiro, the owner, welcoming a group into their establishment or their parking lot and not saying no, it's a difficult choice to make. I'm glad that he made the decision to reach out to the police department to ask for details. I think that him understanding that this should have been, understanding now that this should have been a licensed event. And I think that in hindsight, we could all look back and say it probably should have been. I know it does seem pretty gray where there wasn't active entertainment or offered by the owner. And you never know if it was 15 cars, we wouldn't probably be talking about this today. But where it was so heavily attended, clearly it's an event. It was an event. But sometimes you just don't know. So I think him understanding moving forward that he should ask for the License Commission's approval is certainly something that I don't think that he would even dispute. So I would just like to speak on behalf of a restaurant operator in the city, trying to do the best to make sure that his restaurant can function and stay in business. And I don't think that there was any ill intentions by him. Certainly, and then on the other piece of, I really am not very clear on the prior fire-related instances with the door. It sounds like that, again, I know that the fire department's very diligent and they do their job, and I fully respect that because there's a lot of life safety issues. But knowing that door prior to opening, that had to have been 3+ years ago. And I did ask him about the fire panel. Again, I think that's a learning lesson, and I would hope that the owner fixes whatever is wrong. If there is anything wrong with the fire panel, I'm under the impression he did fix a faulty fire sensor. which is great. And knowing that moving forward, they should never silence a panel, even if the the restaurant is full. That's something that I think that I'm not going to say that I've done in the past, but I know that I've had restaurant operators tell me they've done that in the past because it's a Saturday night. They have, hundreds of patrons in the restaurant. They know it was a false alarm, and they don't want to lose all the revenue because everyone's going to walk out on their check. So again, it's a decision that should understand in the future that is not something that is acceptable. But I hope the commission can offer some leniency and understanding. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilor Keefe. Do any of my fellow commissioners have anything else to add or any other questions?
I have no other questions.
No other questions.
In looking at the record of Easy Pie, it seems that they have been a good operator, and they tend to take care of things as they come up. We haven't had them here before for a hearing, so that would indicate that they have been a good neighbor. I don't know what my fellow commissioners would like to do with this, other than as a point of information to understand that if you do have other car events, I think it would be in your best interest to get them licensed, because the fact of I didn't know I was supposed to is now gone by the boards because we're having this discussion. Do any of my fellow commissioners have anything that you'd like to say or add? Or
No, I would just think common sense. If you're having a function of any kind, you can call the office and ask if you need a license to have, and have it approved. You have 200 people. I'm glad he called the police, but any event we should be notified of. I've received a letter from Councilor Sereno. I was kind of hoping he may have shown up today, but I guess he had prior commitment. And he was very concerned about it because it is Ward 6 and it was very loud to his constituents. So I just hope going forward that any event would need to be run by the License Commission and of course the police department for detail. And I'm glad he had detail, but when you get 200 cars coming out of there screeching, it's very hard to get control of that. So I haven't, the only suggestion I would say, I hate to put it on file and bring it up because, we would have to refer back to it. But I would take it as a strong warning that in any event that they should get in touch with the License Commission and the police department and just make sure whether or not he needs a license. So at this, I would say no.
Yeah, I was leaning towards, possibly suggesting keeping on file, but I think that would be a little bit going a little too far for this particular restaurant, the owner, given their very good history and given what we learned from our own internal investigation. It seems like everything that he advertised, he actually succeeded on in terms of keeping a relatively calm event. I think that, this is a stern warning to them. I think they understand now that they have to, at the very least, place a call to City Hall and see if a license would be required for something like this. And I suspect we won't have this issue from this business again, given what I've read from their history. This is probably an isolated thing.
very good, Commissioner. Thank you. Counselor, so I guess what we would do here, my fellow commissioners want to issue a warning on this and just advise your client that going forward, it would be in his best interest to call the office, explain the event that you want to have, and determine if that event needs to be licensed. And I would think that if that can be accomplished, that this will probably resolve issues in the future.
Mr. Chairman, I thank you very much, and members of the board, I thank you for your time. Your recommendation is very well heard and received by my client, who is sitting right here to my left. He's very well aware that moving forward with any type of these potential events, he'll certainly make sure to discuss it with the commission or the administration, and get the appropriate sign off to avoid the situation moving forward. So I'm happy that we were able to come to an amicable conclusion of that, and I thank you all for your time.
Thank you very much, Counselor. One of the things that I just wanted to conclude with is that the commission is here to help businesses navigate this stuff. We're not in the business of trying to restrict their ability to earn a living or to, restrict events or anything like that. But there has to be some type of a process by which, excuse me, all of the parties are aware of what's going on, so there aren't any surprises. So these type of things can be handled up front. And maybe if we had a little bit more notice on this and there was a license situation, we could have had another officer there, which may have prevented, some of this stuff from spiraling more than it needed to. So in the future, I think that would probably be in everybody's best interest.
Certainly. Mr. Chairman, my client has been a client of mine for about 5 years at this point. I think his character with the city reflects his character, as I understand it, as a business operator. And I am confident moving forward that the request of this board will be met today for any future events.
Thank you very much, Counselor. I appreciate that. And I'm sure my colleagues do as well.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Have a good day. Excuse me. The next item is item number 8. This is Senna Motors, Inc., 120 Squire Road. Claudio Pontes is the manager. This is a hearing into violations of license conditions and unlicensed commercial vehicle storage. Is there someone here from Senna Motors? Mr. Pontes, you are muted. If you could unmute, that would be helpful. Thank you very much, sir.
Hi there. Sorry, while I was transitioning, it actually broke. I couldn't hear what you said after Senna Motors. Do you mind just repeating, because I didn't hear you?
Yes, well, this is a hearing into violations of your license conditions and unlicensed commercial vehicle storage. So apparently we have been getting fairly regular complaints from residents of you extending your license premises beyond the borders of the lot. For example, cars on the sidewalk, parking issues along Patriot Parkway, those types of things. So that's what we're here to.
Sure. So I've actually received a letter from Maggie. I know Maggie ever since we got our license about 6 years ago. I also know the Miss Guinasso was there at the time as well. I do remember her. I was actually quite startled to hear this complaint via letter, because not in any circumstance has anybody ever come in here to, talk to us about anything, complain about any particular issue. We had one instance about, it was actually a police officer too. He used to live on 2 houses right next to us. And his wife, I think she had some disorder or problem. She had difficulty to walk for a long time. And he said, could you please not park, or your staff not park in front of our car, of our house, because I know it's a public street and I can't literally force you to do that, but it will really help my wife if you did that. And we've never parked in there ever again. For as long as we hear a complaint or a concern, we try as much as we can to address it. And we've been here for over 6 years. Not once have we ever been in front of this board in regards to anything else. The letter I've received from Maggie mentioned we had illegal commercial vehicle storage at 148 Squire Road. I was, again, startled to hear that, since that's the Arabic restaurant, which is almost a block away from, I'm pretty sure you're all familiar with the area. So we're right in the corner of Squire Road of Parkway. Then we have the East Boston Bank. And then right on the other block, there's a little road. And then there's a little restaurant there. we have never been close to the proximity of that restaurant with any car that didn't have a plate, let alone do any business there. So I couldn't understand why anybody would come and say that we're storing vehicles there for sale, or in any other place for that matter. 6 years have passed. We have grown considerably, and in order to accommodate that growth, we've purchased a second dealership at the Tewksbury location, where we do have our truck coming in on a daily basis to trying to address the issue of the locomotions, of course. We've bought the truck, we've bought the trailer specifically so we don't have that type of issue, and that we're trying as much as we can to address that. We had one specific situation, this is also on the letter, and I think a police was even there on the day that a truck came by and he parked incorrectly. He was a new truck driver. It was his first day. He was still trying to get along, and he didn't know what he was doing. And I'm going to be very honest, there might have been instances in the past where previous drivers still parked at the wrong place. The question was, we didn't know where exactly they wanted us to park because Squire Road is very busy. So the intention of parking on Patriot Parkway was to really not to interrupt all the traffic and everything that goes through on Squire, so we can do the loading and unloading of vehicles. I think at one specific day we had a cop that was there, and he questioned us about it, and we asked him what should we do. And this has been very recent, by the way. I think there was a chief of police in there. I think he was probably Revere police, so he might be able to confirm that too. But he did tell us that he wanted us to park at a specific place, and ever since he said that, we've been following his instructions as he did, where he wanted us to put the truck to, take out the vehicles and put them back. I'm not sure if there's anybody here publicly. I would love to listen from them if they are. I am the owner of Cena Motors and manager. I've operated this business for 6-7 years, and I would love to hear from you. How can we help in any way to try and reduce as much as we can any discomfort? I know that I'm not going to be loved by everyone, as our right in front of us neighbor once called the police on us because one of our customers had parked in front of his house. Again, public street. The police officer came by and he said, "I'm sorry, but there's nothing you can do. This is a public street, and this is just the person parking here because he wants to inquire about a car next door." He could have parked on the other side, but I also don't have control over all of the people that come by. And when they come by, all we can do is try to accommodate as much as we can, to inform people as much as we can. So we tell our customers, please don't park there. We had a time and instance where we had people parking at the bank. So I personally walked over to the general manager of the bank and apologized to him on several occasions, where I said, look, it's going to happen sometimes because sometimes they don't know or they don't pay attention to signs, but I do apologize. And we actually do considerable amount of business with the bank next door too. Anyway, I don't like to hear more from you. I don't know what to suggest in an instance of how, because some of these are pretty strong accusations, to be very fair with you. I'd very much like to hear from the person, for instance, that said that we did illegal commercial vehicle storage at 148 Square Road, because that's very unfair. And just as you all have been on this meeting now for quite a few minutes, businesses are struggling as well these days to keep going. And the last thing you want is people just swinging by the city and saying things like that. I think it's also not fair. And those should be looked up by the commission in every way too. Please tell me perhaps a little more. Like I said, if there was anybody there publicly who would also like to talk to me, I'm here to listen. If I can help in any way, I will do whatever it takes. Like I said, we've been here more than 6 years. We help the community in every way we can through all different funds and colleges around, and all the police stations. We fund them every year. We're a strong supporter of the community of Revere in everywhere and all business that we do. We don't intend in any way to harm or disturb anyone. We don't hold liquor licenses or up until 4 o'clock in the morning screaming or jumping here. We're just doing regular, business hours, selling cars and going home.
Well, thank you for that, sir. I think some of the points revolve around the parking, and also if someone wants to do a test drive on a vehicle that they're going up and down the street you know,
Always
test.
with a plate.
I beg your pardon?
Always with the dealer plate, sir.
It may be,
There would,
but
yeah.
speeding up and down the street is still speeding up and down the street, whether you have a dealer plate or not. And that was one of the complaints that we have received in the past, is that when
Okay.
someone wants to test drive the vehicle, they speed up and down Patriot Parkway.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Selovich, is that how I would say it, sir?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Selovich, I didn't say that on the letter. That's why I didn't address it. If it happened, again, I apologize. What I'll do from now on is I'll perhaps write a headed letter with all the people that do test drives, making sure that they understand that they cannot speed on Parkway for test drives for any particular reason, that does disturb the guests. And I totally agree with you and the commission and the board that that should not be done. I mean, this is a 35-mile street, 25 miles. There are kids who live here. I have kids. I have 2 kids. My kids are always around the dealership running around, and I wouldn't want anybody speeding on the street either. Obviously, I can control all the customers that come in and that do test drives and eventually want to test the vehicle, but it's in a matter of trying to address this to as much as we can. I'll print the header letter. I can scan it over and send it to Maggie to see if it's acceptable to you too, where the customer understands he cannot speed in any way or do anything of the sort on the street right next to us.
Thank you very much. Any of my fellow commissioners have anything else that you want to?
I would just like, Commissioner, I'd like to know, is there anyone in the audience that have made these complaints? Has anybody shown up?
Yes, please.
Any opponents here that we can get the story from? Because again, you know, we get calls and complaints, and I wish they would come in and we could speak with them, because I know the, again, the area well. I'm Ward 3 as my colleague. And it's, before this owner, we had our hands full.
I know.
You've long way.
I was there with you. I was
You
with
you come into
the detective of police for about 8 months with them and with you guys trying to liaise with the license. And as I said to you, we've never had a single issue with you guys. We do our business very right, straight as it should. And I totally agree with you too. I think they should come forward, and not just here, but personally. We're family-run business. You can walk into our office anytime and just talk to us about any disturbance that we could possibly give you. And the only disturbance we can possibly give you is a parking disturbance.
Well, the thing is, you are on a highly residential corner. You know,
Yes.
Patriots Parkway is highly residential. And of course, you know, we, again, want to make sure that the people in the city have peace and quiet at night. But I have gone by your business, as I think everybody does, Squire Road.
Sure.
And the only thing that I see is delivery of trucks. You may have on the side where they call them trailers, or, you know, sometimes they got 8-10 cars there. But again, if they are licensed and they have state plates on them, they can park. They can park there. I just, honestly, I encourage neighbors, if there's a complaint and this board calls them up, calls the business in, that they can sit down together and work together. Without someone here, I don't know how to resolve what I'm not sure of what's going on. I have friends that live on Patriots Parkway. I have a relative. I haven't heard anything from them. So, you know, I'm sure it happens. I'm sure it does. But I don't have anyone that has called me and gave me their side of the story. And I encourage them every meeting. Please come up and help us resolve a problem you're having. So for me right now, I don't know, other than the delivery of your trucks. I do see that when that big truck comes in with maybe 8 cars on it.
And I agree with you. I think that it would make also my life easier. Like I said, we're also here to help the community. So just like the gentleman a couple of doors down who asked me not to park in front of his house, and we never did again. None of our staff, not everybody, because we listened. But without me even sometimes knowing what the issues are, I can't even try to address them in any way, because nobody has come to me to say anything personally here at the dealership. And Do you understand what I'm saying? And then I can't even try to resolve it. And again, I don't necessarily, as you said yourself, if the plate is registered, there's nothing that can stop them from parking publicly on the street. But we still don't, just because we're a business, we're in a highly residential area, and we understand that, and we do try to help. But I can't solve things that I don't know that are happening. The truck was addressed, like I said, by the police officer who came by. He explained to us, he told us that was the best location. And I would be a hypocrite to say to you that I can assure you it's never going to happen again, because I also receive other truck drivers from all over the country, right? So let's say I buy a car in California, a truck comes in from a company that I don't know. I normally notify the driver where he needs to go and give him all the instructions. But in other words, he could come and do whatever he wants and I have no control over that. But our personal truck, which is the one that comes in on a daily basis, and this is also because of our license number. So we're here to make sure that we have the right amount of cars and that we're doing everything just exactly as we should. And trust me, having your own truck, your own trailer, all the insurances that go through all of that costs us a lot of money to make sure that we're doing everything correctly and by the books as we're so do the commission, the city, and everything. So we are here to try and do as much as we can to help the community. I think some of these written on this letter are a little unfair, specifically a block away from the restaurant, or on a restaurant that we don't have contact, we don't do business with. We've never even go close with them with any of our cars. I would love to hear exactly who that person is in public if they were here to say it, because I would say to their face, you're lying. That is not true. And if you are saying that what you're saying is true, then I'd very much like for you to prove it, because you're trying to hurt my business unintentionally. That's definitely not a veracity there. But again, yes.
How many, do you have customer parking designated a lot?
Yes.
How many spots do you have for customer parking?
Now you got my question. I believe it's 3 spots that we have within the stores when we issued for the license. That's how much they required us. So we're a very small business. We're not big. So
Right.
the three spots are there for the customers to come in and park. And again, do I have occasions where my cars are on the street and that I have to take them off the lot so that a customer test drives? Yes, it's there. I'm not selling cars there. The customer is getting ready to go into a test drive. And then eventually that process needs to happen in order for him to do it. But accusing of actually having cars on the street for sale, that's something completely different. Because now you're saying that I'm grabbing my cars, leaving them on the street for sale and using them as well as my lot. And again, that's something completely different, and that does not happen, I can guarantee you.
Okay, like I say, I just wish that I encourage anybody that has a complaint and you call before the board that they would show up and help us resolve the problem. I have no other questions.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Guanasso. Commissioner Osina, do you have anything to add?
I don't.
Very good. Sir, I think I feel your plight here. You're in a tough spot. That's a very well-traveled area. It is residential. And so I think, in looking at it, you seem to be trying to address the issues as they come up. And, I am, and I'm sure the rest of the board is, we feel your pain here that if you can't address things that you don't know about. And I think, just to have an open door policy with the neighbors will go a long way, so that people know that if they're having an issue with your business, they can walk in and talk to you about it and you will address it. And I think as long as you do that, we should be able to work through any one of these issues that arise. So I don't know what my fellow commissioners feel about this. I mean, I'd be willing to.
Excuse me. I feel the same way as I did with the last one. I think that just a clarification here, the rules and regulation of your license. I do understand if someone has a plate, a registered car plate, they come to your business, try to ask them to use the designated spots you have. But right now, I would just say I would like you to just listen to what the commission said today. It is residential. I appreciate you did work with that one woman, and I know you did. And no one has parked in front of her house since then. So if you could be more considerate of the neighbors, which I hate to say that because where I don't hear from anybody at all, it's very hard. At this point, I would just take this as a clarification for your business.
Yes, ma'am.
No, Cena?
I would agree with my fellow commissioner.
Very good, sir. So this will be just a informational warning to you that, you know, just to be more mindful of the parking situations and agreeable to be dealing with the situations as they arise.
Yes, sir.
I have nothing else to add. Does anybody else?
No?
Okay, well, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye-bye. That concludes the hearings. The next items would be, well, actually, before we get into the communications, I would like my fellow commissioners to be thinking about the Moose Lodge. At this point, the Moose has not shown up for its hearings at the ABCC. And there are at least some accusations that they are still conducting business as usual. And that situation, I think, needs to be addressed. They do not have a manager currently. And I don't know what your feeling is on them continuing with the license going forward.
My opinion, Commissioner, is that I would like to see them put on the agenda for next month. If no one shows up at the meeting, we're giving them a month, I would go for revocation of the license. They're not compliant with any city ordinances. I also feel we had taken that bench away in the front of the building. They asked to put it back. We agreed to put it back. Now it's just a hangout. People are just sitting there. I would like to see that removed. I would like to see them called in for the next meeting. If nobody shows up, the manager is not here, then I would go for revocation of the license.
Commissioner, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
Nope. Commissioner Granasso said exactly what my thoughts are.
Very good. So I guess we will ask that a letter be sent to the Moose Lodge requesting their presence at our next meeting to address the issue of management and service and the hearings at the ABCC.
And Commissioner, would you also add in that letter to have the bench outside removed? They are closed. It should not be sitting there for whatever reason it was. The reason we put it there was no smoking, and they said that they would keep an eye on what was going on out there. Well, nobody's there to watch what's going on. And I did get a call from a business in the area. And at night, they're sitting out there at night. Whatever they're doing, I don't know. So that is their bench. It's on the sidewalk. We gave that to them as a privilege. Let them put it back out there. I think it's time to remove it.
Very good.
Does Commissioner Dina agree with me on that?
100%.
Okay.
Okay, well, I guess that's what we'll include in the letter as well, is the addressing of the bench. Okay, well, I guess that takes care of the Moose. The next items would be communications from the Massachusetts Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission, a notice of approval of application of Beachmont Wine and Spirits, Inc. for a transfer of the all alcohol package store license. Also an ABCC notice of approval of an application of TBS Beverage, Inc., DBA Ocean Liquors, for a transfer of the all alcohol package store license. Another notice from the ABCC of approval of application of Northgate Partners, DBA Joe's Market, for a change of manager. And the ABCC notice of continuance of hearing for appeal filed by Four Partners, Inc., DBA Antonia's at the Beach. A hearing date has not been yet scheduled.
Unfortunately, Commissioner, I know there's not much we can do about that, but as I said at the beginning of the year, they would go the whole summer without a hearing. And here we are getting complaints again. So loud music at 2 o'clock in the morning. I believe we were sent a letter, and I just don't know what to do. I do feel very bad for the residents in that area, but we've done the best we can in trying to correct this. And I just want the people in the area to know that they're appealing our decision. So therefore, we can't do anything until the ABCC has a hearing date. And that's really unfortunate.
Well, in fairness to the business commissioner, we did check with the Revere Police. There have been no complaints from area residents regarding anything to do with noise or music or unruly patrons. I also checked with the state police, and they had no record of any complaints dealing with noise and or unruly patrons. So if it's occurring, again, this is another situation where the people who are complaining need to complain to the police and or 311 or somebody that can record this so that there is a record of these complaints. Because again, we are flailing around in the dark with, a complaint that says that there is excessive noise and cars and traffic, but yet there is no backup to that. No one else is complaining. So I would ask that people who live in the area do avail themselves of the process.
Well, the paper trail is very important for us to do our job. And, we hear them. We did receive a letter on first name only, so we don't really know where that letter came from either. So I know Maggie has it, but I don't think the address was even put on there. But we've done what we can. And unless we do have a paper trail, as Commissioner Selvage said, to back up these stories, it's very hard for us to move forward.
Very good. The next items would be license renewals, common victular, license renewal for Suffolk Diner LLC, DBA Airport Diner at Suffolk Downs, 10 Furlong Drive. Lee Burbank Highway Service Station, Inc., DBA Super Sunoco at 251 Lee Burbank Highway. An entertainment license for Suffolk Diner LLC, DBA Airport Diner at Suffolk Downs, 10 Furlong Drive. And a Class 2 motor vehicle dealer's license for 1A Corporate Auto Sales and Leasing 2, Inc., 275 Lee Burbank Highway. While we're talking about other issues, Commissioner Guanasso, are you familiar with the property at the intersection of American Legion Highway and Revere Street?
Yes, I am.
The lot next to the cigar store and...
Yes, I am.
I've noticed a lot of vehicles that are parked in there, and it's been brought to my attention that those are being utilized as a park and fly. Do you have any information on that, or is that anything that's been brought to your attention?
I did hear that. I guess it's a counselor from Everett that owns that property. And he has leased it out for overflow parking for the roadway in, from what I understand. But it seems like everybody is just putting their cars in there now. Signs are going up on the fence. And no one seems to know who's letting who do that. So I think that that's kind of the owner should look into that and see exactly what is going on, because I've seen them put snow plows in there. He seems to have abandoned it, if you want my opinion, although they did put top all around it. So my husband was looking into that, and I'm sure he'll have an answer shortly as to what's taken place. And even as I see the political signs going there, from what I understand, there's not permission on that, but the owner, that's the owner's problem. You know, he can take care of that. So yes, my husband is looking into that to find out exactly what's going on.
Okay, thank you very much. One thing I neglected to do was on these license renewals was to vote for them. I would make a motion that we pass all of these renewals, the common victular, entertainment, and class 2 motor vehicle dealer. Do I have
Second motion.
Second motion.
once those licenses are renewed? And I have nothing else on the agenda. Is there anything that my fellow commissioners would like to address?
I have nothing. No, so I guess we'll look for an adjournment.
Yes, so I would make a motion to adjourn until November 17th, 2001.
I just realized the first item on the agenda today, we never went back to it. So maybe we have to put that back. We have to put that on for next month.
Yes, I guess no one from, I forget which one. It was item number 2.
I thought it was 199, was it?
I think it was item number 1.
Sorry, the actual one.
It's the 99 restaurant. It's an inverted application and it would be a law firm. I will touch base with them and find out what their situation was.
Staybridge Suites was the person that.
Oh, no, you're right. I'm sorry, you're right. It was Staybridge Suites. Still a law firm. I will look into what the problem was. My apologies.
Thank you very much. Now, the only other item we need to decide is, do we want to go remote next meeting or do we want to go in person?
I vote for remote.
I would vote for in person.
Oh, nice guys, nice going. I'll go remote.
Next meeting will be remote participation only, and that will be on November 17th, 2001. I make a motion to adjourn until that time.
Motion to adjourn.